in theory class, sir will tell you about process management, right? After the introduction part, right? The first part, sir will cover process management. Although you have also some idea about this process management, because in the last class we discussed about one system call, right? So in that system call, I told you about how to get process ID, PID, right? Process ID. Okay. So whenever you are creating a particular process, right? So these concepts I will tell directly. I will go to the points whatever required for the lab class. So each and every processor occupy some part of the memory, right? So like you know that the memory is divided into 5 parts. One is your stack area, another is called as your heap area, another is called data area, another is called text area, right? So this is the representation we will see in today's lab. Stack area, heap area, data and text area of processes, right? And we'll see how one process captures some space in the memory, right? And whenever we create a second process, for example, one process is already there in the memory, then if a new process I want to create, so if I want to take the same space, then what will happen, right? That we'll see in today's lab class. So a process passes through a various states. One of the state is called as new, right? Whenever a new process is created, that we call as a new process, right? That is a new process, so it is in the new state. After that, it will be entered in a queue, right? Because there are a lot of processes are there, right? So one by one process will execute. So that is called as your running process, right? That is the running process. Once a process you want to execute in computer's processor, so that is in the running state. So while a processor in the running state, it may ask for some kind of input and output operation, right? Like keyboard operation or printing operation. Then it will be moved to the waiting state, right? After waiting state, it will go to the IO state. In waiting state, it will complete the IO. Then it will again back to the ready state, right? Then again go to the running state until this process will be continued until unless a process is completed, right? And if all CPU work and IO work is completed, then the process will go to the terminate phase, right? So this diagram will give a complete idea. See here, whenever a process is created, you are present in the new state. Suppose you want to create 5 processes, so 5 processes are there in the new state, right? Then there is a queue, okay? Obviously, 5 processes cannot be executed in a single processor, right? Assume that you have a single processor and single core system in which you can execute only one process at a time, right? So one process will go to the ready state, right? Or processes will be entered to the ready state one by one based upon their arrival time, right? So once the process is there in the front of the queue, right? Once the existing process is completed here in the running state, one process you will remove from the ready queue, okay? And it will enter to the running queue, okay? It will go to the running state. Then it will use the computer processor to execute its work. If it doesn't require any kind of IO event, then it will terminate, right? If it requires any kind of IO operations and some other operations, then it will back to the waiting state. It will try to complete all the IO operation here. Then it will again back to the ready state, right? Like that, this process will continue. Ready, running, waiting, ready, running, waiting. Like that, it will continue until unless a process is successfully completed, right? So this diagram is called as process state diagram, right? So 5 step process diagram we are using till the starting of a particular process, okay, creation of a process to termination of a process, right? And in between that there is an interrupt may happen. Interrupt means suppose you are reading something, some of one of your friend came and he told that we will go outside, right? So what you will do, you are reading a particular book, you will bookmark that book. Suppose you are studying page number 72, then you will mark that you are studying page number 72, paragraph number 2. Then you will go with that friend, okay? Once you will back to your again your hostel, right, or your home, then you will again reading from that particular point, right? So that is called as your interrupt, right? So if interrupt occur, a process can be moved from the running state to the ready state, right? So this is called as your process state diagram. Each process state diagram is clear. If you have any doubt, you can ask me, right? So this is a 5-step process, right? If you have any doubt, you can ask in the chat box or you can unmute and ask, because this thing we will do in today's lab class. Is it clear? Can anybody respond? Yes. So simply, whenever like birth to death, a chart, right? Okay, a human being is means for each and every person there is a birth to death, right? Similarly, each process is entering into the operating system, present in the ready queue, going to the running state, waiting state. If required, IO operation, input output operation like keyboard, you want to enter something. For example, addition of 2-number program, right? You require 2 inputs, right? So you may go to the waiting state, again you come to the ready state, go to the running state. If your job is done, then you can go to the terminate stage, right? Okay. So this is the overall view of a process. Let me tell you another important part here, right? Although this sir will cover more details. So a process is stored in a process control block, right? Each process is stored in a process control block. Okay, so whenever you create a particular process in the operating system, each process maintains a process control block. Like whenever a student is joined in a particular institute, so what we are doing, we are maintaining the record of the student from, let's say, 10th class details, 12th class details, JE details, its home address, hostel address, everything we are keeping in a file, right? Similarly, in the process case, what you are doing, in process case, okay, in process case we are maintaining various things, right? For example, each process has a process state, right? Process state means it may be in the new state, it may be in the ready state, it may be in the running state, it may be in the waiting state, it may be in the terminate state, right? Each process has a unique number that is called as a process number, that you know, right? You know PID, right? Process number is called as process ID. So each process has a unique ID, right? Then there is a program counter, right? What is program counter? If you have studied microprocessor, you know about my program counter. If not, program counter is keeping what is the next instruction you are going to execute. That is called as your program counter, right? For example, like I mentioned you are reading page number 72, right? Okay, leave it. Okay, program counter, what program counter does, right? Suppose you are studying page number 72, line number 2, right? So it will keep the next one, that is page number 72, line number 3, right? So whenever you are executing a particular program, the current instructions, next instruction, right? For example, you are executing line number 5, program counter should have line number 6, right? That's why it says that program counter contain the location of the instruction to next execute. Whatever instruction you are going to execute next, that should contain your program counter, right? Like each processor, whenever it is executing, it is keeping this program counter. Okay, program counter points to a particular instructions, right? Similarly, you have a set of registers, right? That content of all process centric registers, right? You need to store temporary values or any other values. You can use the help of the registers. Okay. Similarly, each process is occupied some memory, right? Some memory limit is there. You are assigned with, let's say, 100 KB or 50 KB of space that is there in the memory limit. And at last, a list of open files, right? Whatever files you have opened by using that process is to be maintained, right? So if you have 5 processors, you have 5 different process control blocks. Remember, each if have 5 processors are there, total number of PCB is 5. So you are occupying 5 different spaces in computer memory, right? So that is the objective of the process control block. With respect to each and every process, you have to maintain these things, right? Is it clear? PCB is clear. PCB is clear. PCB is clear. PCB. Okay. Like a student record, we are maintaining the process record, that is PCB. Okay. No. What is the doubt? Satya? Satyasam? Can you post your doubt? Or you unmute and ask? Satyasam, are you there? Okay. Is my voice audible? Because Satyasam is saying your voice is not clear. No, is it audible to others? Sometimes it's breaking. Okay. Audible. Okay. Okay, we have covered two things. Hassan, we have covered two things. Sir, can you end the session on Core Control platform? It is still on and getting recorded. No, I have exited. I have exited from there, right? So no problem. There is no problem. We are not using that session. Mithilesh, don't worry. Let it be continue. Okay, no problem. Because again I have to log in and suddenly exit it. Yes, you join in this Google Meet, not in the Code Control, right? There is some issue is coming. Okay, I told you about two things. Try to understand two things we discussed here. One is about the process state, right? Whenever a process is created in computer memory, it is there in the new state, right? As you are not only the person who is creating the process. There are a lot of processes are created by some processes are also some processes created by computer system as well. So what we are doing? So all the process is initially present in the new state, then it will go to the ready state, right? Right? In the ready state, multiple processes are there, right? So each if the processes are arranged in a queue, right? That we call it a ready queue, right? The process which is there in the front of the queue, okay, it will go to the running state, okay, it will go to the running state and it will execute its instructions. The process is nothing but a set of instructions, so it will execute a set of instructions. So if that process is require some kind of input output operation like keyboard operation or printing operation, it will come to the waiting state, right? Again it will back to the ready state, right? After its IO operation is over, then it will go to the ready state, then again it will go to the running state. Finally all the tasks are, whenever it is completed, then it will go to the exit state, right? That is called a terminated state, right? This is the 5-step process of a process, right? 5-step process state, right? Each and every process has to go through minimum, let's say 4 process: new, ready, running, terminated, if IO is not required, right? This process you have to follow, these steps you have to follow. Second, I told you in each and every process is maintaining one record, that is called as a process control block. Process control block consists of a set of things. One is Each process is present in a particular state. It may be ready state, it may be new state, it may be terminate state, it may be waiting state, it may be running state. So its status is recorded here. Then there is a process number, right? Process number is nothing but a unique number like your roll number. Each process is maintained a process number. In Linux, you can get a process number by using PID, right? Then program counter contains the next instructions. Whatever instruction you are executing in computer, the next instruction is stored in the program counter. For example, you are executing 5th instruction, then 6th instruction's address is present in the program counter. Okay, and in order to save the result, partial result or temporary results, we are using registers, right? And a particular memory space is occupied by that particular process, and whatever files is linked to that particular process, it is available here. Okay, list of open files. So this PCB is maintained per process. Each process is maintaining one PCB, right? So they are occupying different memory in the computer memory space, right? Okay, that occupying, somebody may occupy 1000 location, another may occupy 1020 location, another may occupy 1100 locations, but they have to maintain these things, right? It may happen that one maybe a list of open file is nil for a particular process as well, right? It may be nil for a particular process, right? Is it clear now? Hassan, is it clear? Two things we discussed. One is a process state, another is this one. Okay. So directly I am going to today's lab work, right? If my voice is not audible, you please tell me, because I am in full screen mode, so I am not able to see the chat box, right? If you have the, you unmute and please tell. Okay. Okay. So today's class, I told, as I told in the beginning of the class, I am going to tell you about two different system call. One system call is called as EXEC. Okay, as I mentioned here, one system call name is EXEC. Another system call I will tell you, that is called as wait system call, WAIT, right? So there are a lot of system calls are there. In Moodle, I will share the list of system calls. So based upon your requirement, you can go through that particular website and you can get the details of that particular system call, right? So try to understand the first system call we discussed, FORK, right? Next system call we are going to discuss that is called EXEC, right? So this EXEC system call is used to execute a file which is residing in an active process, right? Try to understand there are two state of a process, right? Like I told you, different 5 states, but overall it is 2 state. One is a process may be in active state or a process may be in the passive state, right? Like whenever a process is executing, okay, or whenever you are executing a process in the running state, so it is an active process, right? But whenever the process is present in the ready queue, so it is a passive process, right? So the idea of EXEC system call, it is executing a particular file which is available in the active process, not the passive process, right? Try to understand, don't be confused. Active process, if it is an active process, then you can use EXEC system call, you can use to execute a particular file, right? So what it is doing, I told you, suppose you have 2 processes, right? One process is P1, another process is P2. Okay, leave it. So, so if there are 2 processes, right? 2 processes is having 2 different process ID, right? Is it okay or not? Well, if you are creating 2 processes, so these 2 processes having 2 different process ID, right? So they may have 2 different process state as well. They may have 2 different memory space also. They may have 2 different program counter also. Everything is different. But EXEC, what it is doing? When exec is calling, you are calling is called, the previous executable file is replaced and new file is executed. Try to understand exec what it is doing. It is replacing your previous executable file with the new file. Okay, don't be confused. One process is there, right? Let us assume that one process is there. That process is having process ID, program counter, process state, everything. So whenever I am calling an exec system call, what it is doing, it is replacing the previous system call, right? Whatever previous executable file is there, suppose previous executable file is X, current executable file is Y, so Y is going to replace X, right? So you are replacing Y with X, right? So you are going to replace the previous executable file, okay, with the new file, right? So see here, previous file is having your process state, process ID, your register, everything the process previous process has. Whenever you are replacing, you should know that which part is replaced and which part is not replaced, right? Suppose you have created a example.c file. Now you are going to replace another code in example.c file, right? So you have to know which part is replaced, which part is not replaced, right? In the sense, for example, first file name is example.c, current file whatever you are whatever code you are pasting, you are posting in the same file, that is example.c. So both file is having same name, example.c. Suppose both files address is, let's say starting address is 1000 memory location. So after replacing the new code also, the starting address is 1000 address only. Okay. So depending upon the file, the end address may be different, but the start address is same, right? So that's why whenever you are replacing a previous file, you should know which part is changed, which part is not changed, right? And another interesting thing is here, the new program, whatever you are executing or whatever you are replacing, the new program is loaded into the same process space. Whatever process space is there only you are pasting the new process, right? Whatever process is, whatever space is assigned to the old process, the same space you are occupying as a new process. Okay, so they are sharing the same process. That's why what happened, the process ID is not changed. For example, somebody is staying in house number 101. Okay, he vacated 101 house, another person is staying in 101. Okay, so the address is not changed, right? Address of the individual person is changed, but if you see the address of that house is not changed, right? Address of the house is not changed, the house number is 101 only. Irrespective of the person, the house address is 101 only, right? Similarly, whenever you will replace a new file with the existing file, the process ID is not changed, because we are not creating a new process, we are just replacing a process. Okay, we are replacing a process rather than we are going to creating a process, right? So we are just replacing a process. Is it clear what is exec? Let me know. Is it clear? Okay. Now I'll tell you what is changed and what is not changed. Process ID is not changed, we already discussed. But what is changed? Whatever data you have, it may happen that old file consists of 3 variables, new file consists of 5 variables. So data is changed, code is changed, state is changed, another is heap is also changed. That's why I told you in process management, sir will tell you about this thing, that the process in memory is divided into 5 parts. One is stack area, another is heap area, and there is an area between the stack and heap. Next is your data area, the last one is your text area, right? So here you see, in programmatically you will see, whenever you are replacing a new process by an old process, what happened? These parts are changed, right? Data changed, code changed, text changed, and heap is changed, but PID remains same. right? That will do a small program to see that, to tell, to show you that how we are replacing a new process with a old process, how the PID is not changed, right? So this EXEC system call is a collection of functions, right? It consists of a set of functions. What are the functions? It may have EXEC. Every functions are starting with EXEC only. If you see, there are 6 functions are there, but all the functions are starting with EXEC only. After EXEC, there may be a L, there may be a L and E, there may be a L and P, there may be a V, there may be a V and E, there may be a V and P. But all the system calls are starting with EXEC, right? So this is called a EXEC system call, consists of 6 functions. They have different use. I will tell you in the next slide when to use EXEL, when to use EXELE, EXELP, EXECB, ECBE, and EXECBP, right? Right. So what it E indicates? E, where you have used E? E you have used here in the second function, and in the fourth function you have used E, right? I will tell you the syntax. So after that the idea is more clear. E is nothing but an array of pointer, right? You know pointer, right? I need a group of pointer. So what I will do? For example, with respect to one student, I want to create a pointer. Your class is having 40 students. So what I will go? What I will do? I will go for array of pointers, right? It may be an integer pointer, it may be a character pointer, it may be any pointer. So if E is there, then its parameter is having a array of pointer, right? That points to environment variable. One environment variable is there, it is pointing to that, and passed explicitly to the newly loaded process. So you have to pass by using this function, the previous, I will tell you, this E function within this parameter. Okay, each function has a set of parameter, right? Like main function generally having no parameter, we are not giving any parameter. So while you are using E, array of pointers you have to pass explicitly, right? Try to understand. This thing will be little bit new to you, right? But once you will habituate, once you will do programming, this idea will be more clear, right? So E indicates it is an array of pointers, and explicitly you have to pass the variable to the newly loaded process, right? Similarly, come to L. L is there in the first one, second one, third one, right? So L is, it is for command line argument, right? Command line argument passed a list to a function. So we'll pass a list set of argument. For example, I want addition of 2 numbers. So you know 2 numbers, so you will pass argument 1 and argument 2. Somebody want 4 numbers, you will pass argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, argument 4, right? Next come to P, right? P is here in the third function and fourth functions, right? So what is the meaning of P? P is, it is a path environment variable which helps to find the file passed as an argument. File name, whatever file name is there, for example, old file name is, let's say xyz.c. So you have to pass xyz file here as an argument, okay, to be loaded into the process, right? You have to pass the file name. Make sure that if the file is available in the same directory, then you can maintain the root directory. If the file is present in some other directory, you have to give the complete path. What do you mean by complete path? C:/ let's say program files / whatever folders are there, you everything you have to mention, right? The last one, that is B. B is used in the last 3 functions, right? What B indicates? It is for the command line argument like P, like L, and these are passed as an array of pointer to the function. Again, you are using array of pointer to the function, right? So this is the meaning of E, L, P, and B. Sometimes we are using both also, L and E, L and P, B and E, and B and P. So it is doing both functions, right? Okay. So it will be, you can remember this thing once you practice everything, it will automatically come. Don't be confused. Just I am telling you because whenever I will show you some function EXECLP, then you should not confuse what is LP, right? That's why I am telling you, right? What is the meaning of L? What is the meaning of P? Now come to the syntax. So this is the syntax part. See, where is there in which let me call this is the one first statement, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So in which case you are using array of pointer? Can anybody write in the chat box? Out of these 6 statements, in which two statement you are using array of pointer. Array of pointer. So let me see array of pointer. 3. Okay, 3 is you are using array of pointer. Anything? Array of pointers. Answer is 3 is okay. 3 and 6, yes. Ankit Reddy, okay. Ankit mentioned 3 and 6, that is 100% correct, right? And Prabin Krishna, you mentioned 2. 2 we are not using. We are using pointer. We are using pointer, but not array of pointer, right? Array indicates that is we are sending array of pointer here. Okay, okay. Here also we are using array of pointer, right? Sorry, 3, 4, 5, 6 all are using array of pointers, right? Array of pointers, right? ARGB also provides you a set of pointers, right? Okay. So this is the syntax you have to use, right? As I mentioned earlier, right? This syntax you have to use in order to use the EXECL or EXECLP or LE or B or BP or BPE. If you want to use, you have to follow these instructions. See here argument is there. What is path? Path is nothing but like in your C drive, let's say D drive, you have a movie folder. Inside movie folder, you have the latest movie, right? So the complete path you have to specify here. Argument indicates there is a set of argument. This ARG does not mean that there is a single argument. You may have multiple arguments. That's why there is a triple dot is there, right? One may use 5 arguments, right? Just I mentioned that if I want to add 5 numbers, something like that, I have used 5 variables, so I have to pass 5 arguments. Similarly, here you have to mention the file name, not path. You have to mention the file name, and you have to give set of argument, right? Here, path you have to specify, argument you have to specify, and there is a array of pointers, right? Like that it will go on, right? Okay. Now, what is path? You know that specify the full path name of the file which is to executed, right? Full path, the complete path you have to give C:/ your first folder. Inside that there is a folder. Inside that another folder. Inside that everything you have to mention. Okay. And ARG is nothing but the argument passed. It is actually the name of the file which will be executed in the process. Sometimes we are using some file's name as an argument also. For example, I want to send hello.c file. I will tell you one station. Hello.c file I want to call, right? So I am passing an argument, right? So most of the times what happens, the path and argument is same if they are present in the same directory, right? Whatever directory you are writing your code, if everything, whatever file you are reading, whatever file you are writing, whatever operations you are applying, every file is available in that directory, then can go for this one, right? Then character constant, right? Argument is considered as argument 0, argument 1, argument 2 up to argument n. It is a list of pointer to non-terminated string, right? So whenever you are using this one, you will use a group of character, right? For example, I want to write IIITDM kernel. So I am mentioning IIITDM is a string, kernel is a string. At the end, I have to mention null. I have to mention null at the end. The first argument points to the file, right? First argument points to the file name, followed by a set of strings ending with null. Like you know that string always ending with /0, null value, right? Another is envp is an array which contains pointers that point to the environment variables. So these are the things used in the previous slide. Okay. So file also you have used, right? File is used to specify the path name. You can specify the path name, or if it is present in the same directory, you can simply mention the file name. Let's say hello.c. Then you mention, if it is available in the root directory, you can mention ./hello, right? So that the file will be assessed, which will be identify the path of a new process image file, right? The function of exec ends with e, right? If you see function of exec which is ends with e, because there are a lot of functions are there, ends with l, okay, ends with v, right, are used to change the environment from the new process image. Okay, It will change the environment for the new process. Whatever new process you have created, it will replace the old process, but its environment is changed, right? This function pass list argument setting by using the argument enbp, right? Using enbp, you can pass the list of environment. I'll tell you, these things will be clear once we will do one program. This argument is an array of character which points to null terminated string and defines the environment variable. And this exec completes 6 functions. If you want to use, what you have to use? You have to use the header file, that is has include unistd.h, right? So this header file you have to include in order to use whatever the functions available in exec you can use, right? So now there are 3 things, right? Is there any doubt till now? Just I told you about syntax part. Is there any confusion? Okay. So see here one interesting thing. Whenever you are replacing a new process by an old process, that is the concept. What exec says? Exec says that you have to replace the old process by new process, right? So there are 3 things. What are the 3 things? One thing, replacement is successfully done, right? Whenever you are replacing, your process is your work is done. That is the one case. Second case, replacement is not done. It may happen due to some constraint, right? Due to something, or you may say that if the file is read only, I cannot replace. In that case, it is not done. So the same thing is discussed here. When the process image is successfully replaced, means you are successfully replacing new file with old file. Okay? Nothing is returned. Nothing is returned to the calling function because the process that is called, it is no longer running. Suppose old process is calling new process, right? Old process is calling new process. Old process is calling the new process, right? So once old process is calling new process using exec, the new process is replacing the old process. New process is now replacing the old process. So old process is not there, right? So that's why nothing is returned because the old process is no longer running. The old process is not there, so it should not return anything, right? But if there is some problem happen, some error is there, -1 will be returned because new process is not created now. Whenever the old process is calling the new process, right? The new process is not created due to some problem. That's why -1 is written. If any error is occurred, an ERR number is set, right? With respect to the error, some number is set. General error is -1, so it is returning -1. Right. So why EX is used? Can anybody say in the chat box why EX is used? I told you why EXEC is used. This system call is used. Can anybody respond in the chat box? Why EXEC is used? To replace the existing process with a new process. Okay, your answer is correct. Any other answer? What is the advantages you are getting in EXEC? It is the objective, right? It is the role of EXEC to replace the old process with a new process. But what advantages you are getting? What advantages you are getting? Update a process in memory. Yes, so updating is okay. You are replacing means you are updating. But what is the advantages you are getting? PID is not changed. Okay, that is a very good answer. Process ID is not changed. Any other thing? Any other thing? Any other thing? Process ID is not changed. That is one advantage you are getting. Memory is not wasted. Very good. This answer is also very good. Copy memory. Okay, it's okay. So let us see. So EX is used when the user wants to launch a new file or program in the same process, right? If you want to launch the same file without creating it, right, then you can use EXEC. Now, how it is working? How it is working, just I will tell you the algorithm part. Current process image is overwritten with a new process image, right? So each and every process image is nothing but the PCB block. This image contains your PCB block. PCB block contains all the details about the process, right? So current process image is overwritten with a new process image. Okay, a new process image is the one you passed as a EXEC argument. What is the new process that you have to mention as an argument in the EXEC function, right? The current running process is ended, right? New process image has the same process ID, same environment, same file descriptor, but its code area, stack area, memory area is different, right? Or it may be using the old as well as some additional one, right? The CPU status and virtual memory is affected. Okay, virtual memory mapping of the current process image is replaced by the virtual memory of the new process. So you may not know what is virtual memory. That will be covered in the memory management chapter. For the time being, I will tell you virtual memory is not an actual memory. It is a stored program concept. It is a concept. By using this concept, you can load as much as a big program as possible, right? Suppose your memory space, your RAM size space is, let's say, 2 GB. I want to execute a program with 6 GB. RAM size is 2 GB, but I want to execute a program of 6 GB. Practically, it is not possible, right? 6 GB you cannot load in that 2 GB. So by using this virtual memory concept and or swapping concept, once concept is there, so I will discuss in the theory class. So in the by using this concept, you can execute a 6 GB program in a 2 GB space, right? So here, what we are doing, the virtual memory space, whatever is there, current process is affected and it is replaced with a new process. Now, you try this particular program. So here we have two programs. One is your example.c. So you have to create one example.c file. Another file is hello.c file. Okay, exam.pull.c. Another is your hello.c file, right? And this hello.c file is called inside the example.c. Okay, so you have to create two different files and you have to run both files. Okay, and you have to execute example.c file, which ultimately invokes the hello.c file so that you will get the output. So first you write this program, then I will discuss what is there inside the program. So I am giving you 5-minute time. So please create two files. One is example.c, another is hello.c, and execute both the file and compile both the file, execute example.c and see the output. Then we will discuss. If you have any doubt, you will post in the chat box. Let me see the chat box also. First file is completed, example.c. Can anybody respond? Example.c is completed. It is done. Okay. Any other person? Okay. Create two files. One is example.c, right? And another file hello.c. Okay, let me create and show you. So let us discuss this one. So I have created example.c file, right? So what I am doing here, inside the integer main, right? Execution starts from main function. So I want to print the PID of this particular process, right? So in order to print the PID of the process, you know, I told you in the previous classes also, you have to write get PID, right? Okay, so I want to print PID of example.c is %d. What I will print in %d? I want to print get PID. Okay, so it will print the process ID of this particular process, right? Then I am using ARGS. Okay, that's why I mentioned in the slide also. ARGS is nothing but array of character pointers. So if you are using ARGS, it is nothing but array of character pointers and ending with null. So I am writing to write hello C programming ending with null, right? So these are the arguments. Okay, these are the array of pointers I want to pass to another file. So you have one file example.c, another file is hello.c, right? So you have to create hello.c file also. So let me show you hello.c file after this discussion. Okay, So what I am calling execb. Execb. Go back, you check what is execb. Execb is taking two things. One is your path, another is your arguments, right? Character array. Okay, sorry, array of pointers, right? Array of pointers, right? So path I am mentioning dots class hello. Dots class hello means it is present in the same directory of example.c. If not, complete path you have to specify, right? You have to specify the C, column, slash, everything you have to specify. And this pointer, right, array of pointers, I am writing args, right? This args is there. So automatically hello C programming, everything will go there. Then there is a printf statement I have written back to example.c, right? Is the first part is clear? Example.c. If you have any doubt, please write in the chat box. Example.c. Example.c part, anything is any doubt? Is it okay? Can anybody respond? Okay. So here you have called which one? By execb you are calling another file, that file name is hello, right? So try to understand, whenever you are using exec file, execb is a part of exec function. I told you inside exec we have 6 functions, right? So whenever you are calling, right, this execb file, what will happen? A new process will be created. That new process is nothing but hello.c. So hello.c will replace which one? Example.c. Hello.c will replace the example.c. After replacement, you are writing a printf statement here. So there is no meaning of this printf statement, because control will never get to this printf statement if exec is successful. But if execb is not successful, right, it is not possible to replace the old process by new process, then this statement will be printed. That is the purpose I have written the printf statement here, right? So let us show you, let me show you that the second file, gedit, okay, or you can write di also, right? What is the second file name? Hello.c. What it contain? The hello c that contain, it is contained, we are in hello.c, just a message, and I want to print the PID of hello.c. How I will print? By using the same function get PID. Okay. So you execute both file. You execute both file. I have executed example.c. There is no error. I have executed hello.c. No error. Now I am going to execute okay, I want to execute, let's say, example.c, right? So let me compile example.c only, because by using example.c we will go to hello.c. What it is saying? It is executing the PID of example.c, right? See here. See here, first what we are doing? We are printing the process ID of example.c. Okay. Then we are going to the second program, that is hello.c. So it is displaying a message, we are in hello.c, and it is also printing the process ID of hello.c. Yes, because we are using execb function, so both process ID is same and the replacement is successful. As replacement is successful, the printf statement back to example.c is not displayed in the output screen. Okay. Is there any doubt? You may get different number, you may get different process. Here you see that process ID is 4733. My case is 8062. You may get different process ID, but the same process ID you will get for example.c as well as your hello.c. Is it clear? Is it clear? Can anybody write in the chat box, or if you have any doubt, you please write in the chat box so that we will discuss. Otherwise, we'll go for the next program. A month, yes, clear. Okay. Any other? It is clear. Okay. Other people are following me or not? Only 2-3 people are responding. Or you need more time to write the code. Magnita, okay. Any other? Only 3-4 people are responding. If you have any doubt, please ask. Maybe it is clear. Okay. Okay. Now we'll proceed. Now, what is the important to note? I already mentioned this note that printf statement after execb is not executed. This printf statement is not executed. That is back to example is not executed. Why it is not executed? Because this hello.c is replaced by example. Example.c is replaced by hello.c, and this replacement is successful. That's why you are not getting the printf statement after execb statement is not executed. Control is never written back to the old process image once new process image replaces it, right? So that is the new thing what you will get here, right? Control will only return back if there is any error. If there is any error, then you can back. Otherwise, there is no need to back to the old process. Even if you go to the old process will not be there, right? Because new process has replaced the old process. Now, tell me what is the difference between FORK, whatever we discussed, and what is the difference between this last system call and this system call? FORK and exec. What is the difference? Please write in the chat box. exec replace the current process. Okay. What is FORK? What is the use of fork? Fork process your exec. Anything in exec, it may be execb or it may be L or it may be anything, right? Fork creates a branch in execution. Creates a branch in the execution. Branch or child process? Both paths are taken. Fork is like create a child process. Yes. Child process. Yes. It is okay. Amantan says okay. So we'll see some program using both fork and this system call, so that the idea is more clear, right? So fork system call is to create an exact copy of the running process, right? Last class we have seen you are getting the exact copy, but few statements are in not executed mode and few are in the executed mode. For example, whenever you are executing fork, after that whatever instruction is there, the same instructions will be executed by the child process, right? Otherwise it will go as an infinite loop, right? So exact copy of the running process, and the created copy is the child process, and the running process is the current process, right? Whatever copy you have created, that is treated as a child process, and the original copy is called as the parent process. Just like inheritance also, we are creating a child class, okay, which inherit the property of the parent class, right? But whenever we are talking about exec system call is used to replace a process image with a new process image, right? It is replacing a process image with a new process image. Old process is replaced with a new. So there is no concept of parent and child process. At a time, only one process is there. But in fork, at a time, multiple processes are there, right? In exec system call. So this is the difference between fork and exec. So this is a program which combine your FORK exec so that you will get both highlight. So I am giving 5 minutes time. So please type this program. So this program uses both FORK as well as your exec. whenever you use for, why do you use has include system type.h? Why has include stdlib.h is not used here in this current program? Okay, maybe this system call you check. I'm not sure, but this system call is defined under has include sys slash types dot h header file. Okay, based upon the header file, we are using different based upon the function whatever you are using. Based on that, we are using the header file. Just like printf I have used, that's why I am using stdio.h. But you cross check whether it is coming under your std standard library.header file or systems types.h header file. You check it. Now run this program by removing this sys slash types.h. If you are getting any error, then you can conclude that it is coming under the header file. Anybody completed? Anybody completed? Okay, very good. Yes. Any other person? Other people are doing. Let me see who are there. Ayush, are you doing? Ayush Saxena? Ayush, are you doing? Ayush, are you there? Hassan, are you doing? Hassan? Hassan, are you doing? Hassan? Yes, okay. Okay, go ahead, go ahead. Can anybody share the output? What is the output of this program? See, this program is not complete because you are calling hello.c, right? Hello.c file is same as the previous file. If you have not written hello.c, you may write hello.c file now. The same hello.c file is you have to. Okay. Yes, is correct. Yes, yes, that is okay. The same hello.c file. If you have not written, please write hello.c file. Please write as soon as possible so that we will discuss more. Then I will give some assignment to you. I am not getting above output. Okay. You may get different output also. There is no problem. First you check that, Harshit, you check that whether you are getting error or not. If you are not getting error, output is immaterial. Output maybe some value is different. Or it may happen that your child process will execute first rather than the parent process. No error, okay. So first what you have to do, you have to create two files. One is example.c, right? Another is example.c, or you can create example1.c because example.c file is there already. Okay. PID 6541. Okay, we are in the parent process. Okay, then we are in child process. Okay, then calling hello C from child process. Okay, then we are calling. Then you will get two more things. One is we are in hello.c, and maybe you have not written hello.c file. Harshit, you check whether you have written hello.c file or not. Otherwise you will get error because hello.file you are calling, right? Then it will come to your hello.c file and it will print these two statements. We are in hello.c and PID of hello.c is your ID. Two statement is missing, rest is okay. And PID is immaterial, right? You may get different PID. Okay, I am explaining, right? Then we will see the output. So here inside the main, your execution starts from the main function, right? Hassan, yes. Hassan, one statement is missing. I hope total how much you are taking? PID of example, okay. Then hello from parent, okay. Hello from child, okay. Then hello from hello.c, okay. You have removed one statement here. You are not written calling hello.c. If you have not written, your answer is correct. Hassan, your answer is correct, okay. So execution starts from the main function. You are printing one statement, that is PID of example.c. Yes, Ankit Reddy, your answer is also correct. So make sure that you have written all the printf statements, otherwise you will get different output, right? Printf PID of example.c %d. In this %d, we are printing get PID. So first statement will come PID of example.c is equal to some number will come, right? Like Ankit Reddy case it is 10831, Hassan case it is 32590, some other case it may be different, right? Then I have written PID underscore T. This is already defined. This data type is already defined. I have created one variable P. I am using P is equal to fork, right? Or what fork will do? Fork will create the same copy of the program. Means example.c. It is creating another example.c. Now you have two programs, not same program, right? You have two different programs. One is parent process, another is your child process. One is your parent process, another is your child process. Don't be confused with EXEC. EXEC, there is no parent process and child process. But in this for case, you have parent process as well as child process. So I told you already that if -1, there is a error. If this P value, PID, this P value is a P is equal to -1, that means your fork is not successful. That's why it is showing there is an error while calling fork, right? So this situation will not come, right? If it is successfully created. So there is two cases. One is if P value is 0. P value 0 means you are in child process. If P value is greater than 0 or a positive number, okay, then you can say that is a parent process. So last class also I told you parent may be first or child may be first, but in general sense we are taking parent first, child second. So the second statement will come, we are in the parent process, right? We are in the parent process is the second one. Then parent process will be over, then we will go to the child process. Child process case, what will happen? P value is 0, right? P value is 0. So we will come, we are writing, we are in the child process. Then we will print calling hello.c from the child process. How you are calling? You are creating a set of array of pointer. That array of pointer and the file name. The new process name is your hello.c. You are passing through execb function. Okay, execb functions, you are passing two things. One is your path, another is your set of argument. Okay, that is nothing but your array of pointers. So whenever you call that, what will happen? It will go to your hello.c file. In hello.c file, it will print we are in hello.c file. PID of hello.c file is your get PID. So here you are printing, your child process is calling this get PID. Your parent process is not calling, your child process is calling your get PID. That's why it is expected that the next value you will get. The next value means if you are getting 10831, then you will get 10832. If you are getting 1 as PID, you will get 2. It is expected, right? So it may not be also in some scenario, right? So let us see the output, and the control will back. If the control will back to this one. Even if you write printf statement here, it will not be executed because the old process, the child process, is now replaced by hello.c, right? So this is the expected output. We'll check with your output. First it is PID of example.c, then we are in the parent process, then we will go to the child process, then from the child process we are calling hello.c, and we are in the hello.c file, and we are printing the PID of hello.c. You are getting 4791. But Hassan, how you are getting 32590 in both cases? You cross check it. Hassan, you mentioned in your output that PID of example, first one is 32590, next is 32590. I think it is wrong. Or you have written some logic problem, right? Parent is child and child is parent. Okay, what is the output you are getting? Somebody, okay, just a minute. Let me solve that Mandita. Okay, what is your output? Sai, your output is PID of example.c. Okay, first one it is coming. Okay, let me go to the program so that it is more clear. Okay, next you are getting we are in parent process. This is absolutely clear, right? Third one you are getting we are in child process. It is also clear. Calling hello, it is clear. Then you are calling hello function, right? Have you written hello.c file? Then control will go to hello.c file. Then two statements are missing. The child work is missing. Okay, I will show you. Otherwise, if you are getting different, let me show you to avoid the idea. So let me write gedit. I have written example1.c. So this is my example1.c file, whatever you have written, right? The same file. Then let me compile the hello. Let me show you the hello.c file. Hello.c file. This is your hello.c file, the same as the previous one, previous example. Then let me compile hello.c. Hello.c I am compiling. Okay, that is done. Then I am compiling example1.c. Done. Then I am executing example1.c. Yes, I am getting the output. In this case, I am getting 8407 as a PID, first example.c, and the next PID 8408 as a PID of hello.c. Okay, Harshit, you are also getting the same thing. So check whether you have correctly called hello.c file or not, and make sure that both example.c and hello.c should be available in the same directory. Like you see here, I am showing you. If I am writing ls, then example1.c file and hello file is both are there in the same directory. If they are in the same directory, I expect that you will get the output. Check, there is some mistake maybe there. Okay. Check why you are not getting hello.c output. You check once. character argument line I'll explain. Okay, okay, no problem. This character, this is a pointer, that is the array of pointer, right? This is a concept of pointer, right? Where what you can do, multiple strings you can take, right? Like I have written the first string is hello, second string is C, next string is programming, right? Every string is ending with a non-zero only. So this is nothing but a 2D array. You can assume a 2D array. Okay. First row you are writing hello slash 0. Second you are writing C slash 0. Next you are writing programming slash 0. The last one is a null. Right. So this you are passing. But till now I have not mentioned you how you have utilized this ARGS in the child file. Okay, sorry, not child file. How you are executing that in hello.c file. That I have not mentioned. That's why you may have doubt. Why you are passing ARGS? You are not using ARGS in the child file. Sorry, in the hello.c file, right? So this is nothing but an array of pointers, right? You can create, you can write as much as possible, but make sure that while you are writing, null is the last one. Null is the last one. To terminate, we are writing null. Like in the string case, we are writing slash 0, which indicates that is the end of the string. Because whenever you are scanning a 2D array or 1D array, okay, character array, so what we are doing, we are checking until unless the slash 0 is reached, we have to continue. Here we will check until unless we are getting null, we have to continue, right? Okay. So we have last 10-15 minutes. What I will do, so I'll tell you about this one. Like first class, I have mentioned you that there are various various functions of operating system. One of the function is a process control. Okay, this is the Windows version and this is the Unix or Linux version, right? We have used fork, right? Next class, I will tell you about this exit and wait. Due to time constraint, today will not go for exit and wait. Hasan, what is the error you are getting? Can you please share? What error you are getting? Or you are saying your last two statements are not executed, that is your error. Okay. So you check, in this way you have to compile. First you have to compile the first file. Okay, let's say my first file is example1.c, not example c. Okay, then you compile your second file, let's say hello.c, but I have to run example.c, that's why I should not write ./a.out, so it may give error. It is only giving the output of hello.c file. So as hello.c file is called inside the example.file, so I am compiling example1.c, then I am writing ./a.out. As soon you execute your hello.c file, you check whether you are getting this to output or not. Those who are not getting, you only execute this GCC file and check whether you are getting this to output or not. If you are getting, I hope you will also get here, because we are simply calling and we are replacing the file. You are getting the output like this, right? PID example.c. We are in the parent process. Your parent process is calling the child process, maybe. Your parent process is executing, is calling. You check this code. I hope you have written some mistake in here. You check whether you have written p equal to 0 or not. because after you are calling this parent process, it is going to your child process. Okay, then it is back to your child process. You understood? The control is like this. This printf statement, then parent process, then child process, then your hello.c. But in your case, it is printf statement, parent process, then your hello.c file, then that's the child process. That's why you are getting the output like this. Okay. Okay. So what I told you, okay, different functionalities are there in operating system like process control, file manipulation, device manipulation, information maintenance, communication between one process to another process, or protection. So for these, there is a set of functions are there in Windows. A very popular functions you are using in C programming, that is called sleep. You may have used in C programming sleep. Okay, and Unix we are using these functions, right? We discussed fork and we discussed this exec functions. Next class I will tell you about exit and wait function, right? And like that in file manipulation, already you have used open function, read function, write function, close functions. There are equivalent Windows functions also you can use, right? Like get period you also discussed, right? You can use sleep, alarm, these functions are also used, right? You can create a process. For the creating we are using for. In order to exit a particular process, you are writing exit 0, right? In order to wait for a particular signal, you have to give time to others, right? For example, as a parent, you want that your child should execute first, then you will execute your. So in that case, you can use your wait function. So this can be used in a wait function, right? Similarly, creating file, read file, write file, close file. Then device manipulation, set console mode, read console, write console, information maintenance case, get current process ID, set time or sleep. These functions you can use in the Windows or Linux. Okay. Similarly, in order to communicate between two different files, right? Like I told you, one language is there that is called message passing interface, which supports parallel programming, right? So similarly, here if you want communication, so you can use create pipe, create file mapping, map view of file, and its Unix version is pipe, SHM get, mmap, right? Then protection policies, right? CH mode is a very popular, that will be covered in your theory class, right? How CH mode is working, okay? And umask, chown, these functions you can use, right? Okay, next class we will go for this wait system call. But before ending this class, just I will give some assignment to you. So please try to complete it. Okay. You try the second one, because till now I have not not discussed the zombie process and zombie state and orphan state, right? So second program you implement. Implement the C program in which main program accept an integer array, right? Main program uses fork system call to create a new process called a child process. Parent process sorts an integer array, passes the sorted array to the child process through the command line arguments of execve system call. We discussed today. I told you about the syntax to explore it. The child process uses execve system calls to load a new program that uses the sorted array for performing the binary search to source the particular item in the array, right? So this program you implement by next lab, right? So I am sharing this program through email, right? Okay, so try to implement that program in the next by next class, and we'll discuss the wait and another is your exit system call next class, so that we will cover the system call first. Then next to next class we will go for introduction.